Atamaria Tifano. Well, it's that time of year in the Audacity Urban Homestead potting up our tomatoes. I've had a fantastic germination rate. Just about every single one of my seeds has germinated and popped on up. And that, of course, means a bit more work to be able to pop them up and pop them on so that they can put on a bit more growth before they go out in the garden. Potting them up and potting them on is a relatively straightforward process. You want to take these and put them in a large container like these. The great thing with the 6 cells is that they're quite easy just to pop out. Like that. Give them a nice comfortable spot and they'll pop on out. People can sometimes be a little bit nervous when it comes to separating out the tomatoes from a single cell, but tomatoes are surprisingly hardy. You can actually give them a little bit of abuse and they'll just carry on growing. So the first thing you can do is pull off their first leaves. You're not going to need those at all. What you actually want to do is shake them apart. What this will do is it'll actually help the roots to separate from each other in a nice gentle manner. Just got to be patient with it. And that's more than enough for it to be able to carry on growing. Now the next trick for potting up your tomatoes is to actually plant them really deep within the pot. You see, tomatoes, they grow advantageous roots up their stem, and the more roots the plant has, the more stable it is in the soil, the more nutrients it's able to gather, and the better plant and better fruit you will get. Sometimes when you hear people talk about potting up your tomatoes, they talk about these little hairs on the tomato plants, and that those are where the roots grow out of. But that's not quite right. Those little hairs are actually the trichomes of the tomato plant, very much like your own arm hairs that you have. These help the tomato plant to resist cold, drought, pests and all sorts of other things. Where roots actually come from is in this picture here. So to pot up the tomatoes, you want to fill up the pot that you're going to be putting your tomato plants into, and you want to give it a good push down in the middle. This gets rid of any air pockets down the bottom, and as well as giving you space for your tomato plant. So make sure it's down nice and deep. Get your little tomato plant, put it in as far down as you can go, and then put that soil on up around it. And give it a good dampening down. Add more soil if you need. And that's it. And then of course you want to give it a really good drink. And don't forget to label it. And then put it somewhere safe and secure with all of its other friends. So my tomatoes will be hanging out here in the warmth of the greenhouse for the next few weeks while they put on a bit more growth and are kept nice and safe. And then they'll be ready to plant out in the garden.